Hello, my name is Fiona, and I'm a certified teacher and a Praxis coach with Study.com. Are you planning to take the Elementary Education Content Knowledge Test? 5018. This is a multi-subject exam. These problems will cover the subtopic of social studies as inquiry and social studies processes. Let's review some of the types of questions you may encounter on the exam. Let's jump right in. Problem number 1. Which of the following would be considered a primary source? A textbook, a dress from the 1920s, a to-scale model of the White House, or a replica of the Constitution? Let's review primary, secondary, and tertiary sources. A primary source is an original and direct connection to the time or event. For example, the retelling of the story from someone who experienced it. An original document or item, such as a photograph, diary, letter, or clothing, from the time or event. A secondary source is an academic work on the topic. Could be a textbook, biography, commentary, or documentary. A tertiary source is a compilation, list of information based on secondary sources, such as a student research paper, encyclopedia, dictionary, and some textbooks. So that eliminates textbook, model, and replica. The only original source here is a dress from the 1920s, which is the correct answer. Problem number 2. Which of the following best explains why historians should be interested in cause and effect? Exploring the cause and effect relationship of historical events shows historians that most historical actors act in ways that modern people cannot fully understand. Understanding cause and effect shows that everything in history can be understood through a brief study and allows historians to examine historical periods quickly. Investigating cause and effect aspect of history is useful for historians who do not know where to begin when approaching historical events of the past. Studying the relationship of historical cause and effect demonstrates that no historical event is random and challenges historians to untangle the complex origins and outcomes of history. What is cause and effect? In a cause and effect relationship, something happens that causes one or more things to happen as a result. The cause is the catalyst, the action that brings about the reaction, which is the outcome, which is the effect. Historians do not simply memorize names and dates. They study history to understand why certain events occurred. As such, studying history requires that historians investigate complex questions of cause and effect. Now let's review the answers. Exploring the cause and effect relationship of historical events shows historians that most historical actors act in ways that modern people cannot fully understand. This is an oversimplification, and common sense should allow us to eliminate that answer. Understanding cause and effect shows that everything in history can be understood through a brief study and allows historians to examine historical periods quickly. Again, a common sense approach to this. Historians do not look at things in brief, and this makes very little sense. We can eliminate that. Investigating cause and effect aspect of history is useful for historians who do not know where to begin when approaching historical events of the past. That isn't completely incorrect. I'm not sure it's the best answer. Studying the relationship of historical cause and effect demonstrates that no historical event is random and challenges historians to untangle the complex origins and outcomes of history. This is most definitely the most academic approach to why historians should be interested in cause and effect. So now we can eliminate this one, and this is the correct answer. Problem number 3. A researcher is attempting to determine the impact of weather and climate on business and industry in a small Midwest town. Which type of research should the researcher pursue? Controlled, correlative, descriptive, or experimental? Let's review each. Controlled research. This is an experiment where 2 groups are used for comparison. One group is exposed to the substance, while the other group, the control group, is not. This is not going to work in our scenario. Correlative research. In this design, there is an investigation of relationship without the researcher controlling or manipulating the variables. The correlation is reflective of the strength of the relationship between the variables, which can be either positive or negative. Now, this one looks like a very strong option. So we've got variables, weather and climate, and we've got business and industry and the effect and impact of those on each other. Descriptive. The purpose is to describe a situation or population as accurately and systematically as possible. This answers what, where, when, and how questions. However, it does not answer why questions. I think we can eliminate that one as well. Experimental. This is a scientific approach with 2 sets of variables. One is constant, which is used to measure the differences of the second. And we can eliminate this one either. So the best type of research for this particular example is correlative research. The researcher is attempting to identify the effects of a variable, in this case the weather and climate, on the town's business and industry. Thus, the researcher should conduct correlative research to see the correlation between these variables. So definitely correlative research. I certainly hope I was able to answer your questions so that you now have a better understanding of the topic of social studies as inquiry and social studies processes. Please remember to like and subscribe to this channel so that with Study.com's help, you will feel confident and prepared on exam day. Bye for now.